It has been 6 months since we sold our ranch and moved into our Grand Design Solitude 390RK.
Did we make a huge mistake?
So, first up, in talking about how we've been doing living in the rig in 6 months, I just want to talk about kind of the weight, towing, and some outside things that we've experienced over the first 6 months of living in this. So right out of the gates, one of the best things and one of the reasons we picked this rig was because of all of the storage. Everything underneath the kitchen, underneath the slide here, is all storage. And hang tight with me for a second, I'll explain why that's good and bad. So in addition to all that storage in the rear, we also have a pretty good sized front basement storage. Now, what we noticed is that the Grand Design 390RK has a lot of what's called chucking. So I would hit a bump in the truck and the front of the rig would dip down and it would almost teeter-totter on the axles a lot. So we've done quite a few things to try to prevent a lot of that. In doing that, we've tried to balance our weight well in the rig. When you get a rig that you know from a storage capacity side you're going to reach the higher end of it, you really want to do a good job in thinking about how you want to balance a lot of those things that are going to be stored inside your rig. Now, in addition to moving stuff around, make sure it's balanced, after we kind of got over a few of the little things, I wanted to check our weight. So that's something I'd recommend everybody do. So we ran through a CAT scale. It turns out on our trailer axles, we were about a couple 100 pounds overweight. Now we were almost 2,000 pounds underweight on the truck. So what we did then is we actually moved more equipment forward into the rig to get on what we call the 22% rule, which is the general rule of thumb is 22% of your overall GVWR is actually going to go to your pin, which is going to be up on your truck, which is for me right there. So given that we were underweight on the truck so extensively and slightly over on the axles back there, again, this was a CAT scale, so it measures by your axles. But we were so underweight on our drive axle here with a full tank of gas and water on board, we decided to take some things out, move them into the bed of the truck that we could still tow safely with. Also, we moved a few heavy things like our pellet smoker and the pellets themselves. Those are about 100 pounds when you combine them all together, from the very back storage to the front storage. So moving a lot of that around has helped a lot, and from the standpoint of making sure that we're towing safely and that we're staying under our GVWR of our axles. All right, I've flipped you around to our service side now, but a couple other things that we don't really love, I don't necessarily care for. We have one sewer out there and we have another sewer outlet there. So we have two sewer outlets on this rig. Now, is that the end of the world? No. It just makes moving and hooking up a little bit more complex because you have to think about your spacing. You can't get too close with one of them, otherwise your sewer hose is too long, and you can't get too far away because then you have to run them too far. So, and you have to think about where that Y is going to go and then bring the rest of it down to your actual sewer inlet. So it does make moving a little faster or a little slower. Now, that being said, the rear tank is only a gray tank for the galley or the kitchen. Everything else is on the front, so we can go a lot longer without having to dump that back water. Quite frankly, we can go almost 3 weeks without doing it, whereas our gray tank up front requires a more consistent dump schedule. As far as the rest of the outside of this rig, we really enjoy it. We've made a lot of upgrades. We actually shot a whole video on showing you what we've done to this rig to make it feel more like our home. We'll link it down below as well as in the corner. But we really have very few complaints about the outside of this rig. I do feel like possibly a third axle or a standard 8K axle would have been probably the way to go. I don't know about the dual 7Ks. That's, if you go into the Grand Design 390RK kind of owners Facebook groups, this is one of the things that comes up a lot, just because there is so much weight in the back with the kitchen. But overall, we're very, very happy with the rig and couldn't imagine being in something else. So now that we're done going over the outside, let's shoot over to the barn with Lauren, because we actually had horses at one point. We still own them, they're just scattered all over Texas. We're gonna go see how we've updated with that. and then we're gonna come back, go over the inside and some of our feelings and that kind of stuff. So while we're running a quick errand in Lauren's truck to go check on the horses, I wanted to quickly talk about how over 6 months of towing the rig, how our truck's been doing. And an F350 dually for this rig was technically a little bit of overkill, but I'm going to actually go out on a limb and say it wasn't actually overkill, because you could have done it with the standard rear wheel. I do think you would need an F350 for this rig. It does run a little bit heavy, but having those dual rear wheels, whenever we've gotten in some windstorms or some rain, it's really gone a long way to help us out in towing safely. So I've actually, and I told Lauren this the other day, this is by far my favorite truck I've ever owned, and she's going to have to pry it from me if we ever have to get rid of it. I might, if we did a Class A diesel, I might get a Bronco and trade it out.
Might. Oh, he'd be real sad. Real sad.
So if you're newer to our channel, we actually sold our ranch that we kept horses on property to move into our fifth wheel full time. So Stella is our performance horse that Lauren competes on, and so she's at a performance barn, and then everybody else is more of the retiree section or the donkeys. They're actually at one of Lauren's friends' house that we're going to next.
Quick update on Stella here. She has settled in really nicely. They take great care of her, and she has this big spacious stall and like 3 fans when it's hot. She's fully sheltered whenever there's other inclement weather, and now that we got her diet and her exercise kind of regimen balanced out, she seems really happy. The boys here are at my friend Julie's house, and she has the 2 miniatures, Doc Boy, and my retired dog. And I gotta tell you, I think these guys upgraded. She has 17 gorgeous acres, and they are fat and happy, and so she takes great care of them. And obviously they're not lacking in anything. She loves on them every day. The farrier comes out to them. She makes sure their diet's exactly what it needs to be for their lack of activity, and that they're not getting too much. So they couldn't be happier. That means I can't be happier.
So one of the biggest questions I still get from friends, family, anything is, how can you live in a small space with that one?
Really?
No,
Really?
But how can you live in a small space with the 2 of you and the dogs and everything else? And anybody that full-time RVs probably gets this to an extent.
They also understand that we both have ADD, so we both ding 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 quite a bit. And that was a concern of ours at first, was how are we going to take a ranch and acreage?
Yep.
Bring it into this small space.
And it's worked.
We spend a lot of time outside too. We
Yep.
walk the dogs about 3 times a day. We go to the gym, we go to work. You know, we kind of do things. We go out and see the neighbors. So yeah, it's not just 24/7 inside.
Right. So I would actually say that it's strengthened our relationship. I will say that I've heard of some people coming out here going, oh, my marriage is kind of questionable at the moment. They might not have the strongest marriage or relationship with their partner, and they think that jumping into an RV and traveling and, you know, vacationing all the time will fix it. It won't.
No, it doesn't. It has its, you know, set of difficulties that you work through together.
Yeah, it all. Honestly, I could see where it could actually make it much worse. For us,
Yeah.
I think it strengthened our communication. Because, yeah, if you haven't ever experienced backing in a rig with your spouse, you have to pay attention to what's being said, and you have to be careful of how you're saying it.
How you choose your words, how you choose your tone, that's a big one too.
Yeah, a really big one. But overall, as far as us, it's been absolutely great.
See, believe it or not, we're nice to each other too.
We're happy. I'm told I'm happy.
No, but he's been more handy. You know, we've had to kind of be more creative in a few things. Like our cooking and our activities outside and everything like that.
Yep. And if you see football in the background, yeah, it's football season. Hooray. Not a great weekend last week for Wisconsin sports. And yes, if you haven't watched any of our videos, even Lauren has a Wisconsin shirt on. Sorry, but I'm a big Wisconsin fan and Packer fan, so.
So as far as the inside of the rig, there were a few concerns people kind of brought to our attention that we considered when we picked the floor plan. We just didn't know how they would impact us. One of them being that we have to open 2 slides to kind of get to anything. It makes boondocking kind of difficult. Not only do we not have the battery set up, but this slide and then the one up in the kitchen if you want to get to the fridge. So that was kind of a give and take. The other thing was also that being that it's a rear kitchen, there's a lot of weight in the back. Mainly the fridge, the stove, like some really heavy things that you can't move, and we didn't really think about how that would impact how we pack the trailer.
Also, just to tack on to what Lauren was talking about on the inside, if you haven't seen the video from last week, our shower door broke. It's crazy how much those things weigh. So if you are looking to drop some weight pretty quickly, don't look down there. If you are looking to drop some weight off the rig pretty quickly, then ditching that shower door is a quick way to drop probably close to 100 pounds. How can I drop 100 pounds that fast?
Shower door shattered. You want me to shatter you?
Wasn't very nice. All right, Bailey, how are you holding up in RV life? Are you embarrassed by the camera? Are you sad? Bailey, no.
No. I don't like.
You holding up okay? Is it traumatic? Are you good now? Oh, that's the stuff. Oh, yeah.
Then
How about you? How are you holding up? As you sit on a stair. I see you're stressed beyond all belief.
So sorry if everybody's a little dazed and confused why there's a camera in their face. It is technically still nap time for a few more minutes, so they're still tired. But no, overall, they have done great. They've gotten to go to new dog parks and play around there. They've been to all kinds of new places, been on walks and hikes and met new people. The other day we were on a walk and Klondike wanders into the neighbor's campsite and greets everybody as they're sitting around having dinner conversation, and they loved it. It was funny, but anyway, so they are soaking it up and we couldn't be happier.
What are you doing back there? Do you think we made a mistake picking this floor plan, this model, this manufacturer potentially? Yes, no, yes. You can have 3 answers. You could have the same answer for all 3.
So no, I don't think that we made a mistake. I think we did a lot of due diligence and a lot of research. We knew what our needs were and we met those needs. Is this a forever rig? No, I can't say that I think it's forever, but I think that for right now, it was a good call.
Let me start by saying too, I don't think there is any rig that's a forever rig when you full time.
Right, yeah.
These things are not homes. They do roll down the road. They depreciate like nobody else's business. And at some point, we will have to switch it out simply because
Sure.
it will deteriorate to a certain point in value that we don't want to hold on to anymore. So,
There are also trips we want to take, but this rig isn't ideal for.
Alaska. Excuse me.
Don't know where that came from.
Yeah. So, now that we moved to our kitchen from our living room, which is all of about a 1.5 walk.
Hey, that makes it easy to clean.
Ow.
It's a smaller space.
Which also means you have to clean it a lot more frequent. So,
That's true.
where are we going? Forward?
Next-ish.
I don't know if you meant to say when you said we should talk about moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know if you meant location, rigs, life.
Life. No, all of the above. All of the above. So we do have a couple more trips planned this year for you guys to join us on. We're really excited about.
They're joining us?
They join us everywhere.
Oh yeah, I forgot you're in there.
Yes. No, we are. We're excited about this, about some of the things coming up, seeing some new places. And so that for sure, a little bit more before the end of the year. We have some things to add to the channel that we're also excited about, some little ideas that give you a little bit more insight to who we are and what we enjoy, but also hopefully is entertaining for you.
And if you don't know, I am a huge fat kid, so just there you go.
It's definitely food related.
It's always food related.
Always food related.
Let's go to New Mexico. Ooh, green chilies.
But to answer kind of a little bit of a question, no, we're not selling our rig. That's not on the foreseeable future. It's in the future, just not the foreseeable.
Upgrades. There's always upgrades.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's sticking around for now, as long as we don't wreck it. On the topic of what's coming up, if you are going to be in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, September 22nd through the 25th, we, or I, some version of all of this, will be at the Southwest RV Supershow at Dallas Market Hall, along with our friends over at the Venturesome Couple. So if you want to stop by, say hi. We have no set times of where we're going to be. I know we've been asked to come by the North Texas RV Association booth. Also, our friends over at Venturesome Couple are ambassadors for the NRVTA, so they'll be at their booth again at some point. We just talked to them earlier today, and we really have no clue. We just know we're going to be around. So if you're going to be around, shoot us a message over on Instagram or comment on this video. We'd love to see you if you're going to be around. So also, to those of you that have subscribed and followed along and followed us on any of the platforms, we just want to say a quick thank you so much. It's crazy in my head because I know it takes a long time to develop these channels, and the fact that we've been doing this now for about 8 months or so. The channel, we've been on the rig for 6. There's a few at the beginning there where we hadn't sold the house quite yet, and to be over 1,300 subscribers blows my mind. So
thank you guys, we really appreciate it, and it's much more fun with you along.
Absolutely. So just like we talked about at the Dallas RV show, anytime we're on the road and we can possibly run into you, we absolutely would love to meet up, have a little campfire session, grab a bite to eat. Shocker, I talked about food again. Any of those things, please reach out to us.
So on that note, I guess we are out for this week, but we will catch you guys next week. What?
Did you just harness your inner Todd?
A little bit.
We are out for this week. Sorry, Todd, we didn't mean to steal your stuff.
We're not stealing it, but we'll see you guys next week, Sunday at 5. And until then, bye, Mom.